Here is the astonishing list of taxpayer-funded freebies that we give to illegal immigrants and asylum seekers. In Scotland, it looks like asylum seekers are about to be given free bus passes again. They obviously all get free hotel accommodation at a cost of around £5 million a day to you, the taxpayer. Some of those hotels are 4-star. In those hotels, they get free heating, their water bills are paid, they get free food and usually a free television as well. So asylum seekers won't pay any bills for a TV licence or anything else, of course. If they're not in a hotel, then they're entitled to a house or a flat, which they also get for free. The government's own website says you'll be given somewhere to live if you need it. This could be in a flat, a house, a hostel or bed and breakfast. The average rent in London is £2,121 a month, by the way, just for a little bit of context there. They get around £50 a week per person, just as spending money. They often get mobile phones and SIM cards, so no real phone bills for them. Legal costs. You pay for them to lodge an asylum application. You pay the salaries of the public sector workers who judge their case. You pay for their numerous appeals. You pay again for the people who decide their appeals. Roughly, about £35 million a year is spent on legal aid, although I think it's quite likely that the true cost is much higher. If they've got kids, well, of course, then you're paying for them to go to school, aren't you, as well? Healthcare. Illegal migrants can use the NHS. In fact, on the Bibby Stockholm barge, which was closed for being too inhumane, they had a doctor on site. So they could have left the games room, had a little look at a film in the TV room, nipped to the gym, and then had a chat with the GP. They get free dental care and eyesight tests, so no dentist or optician fees. Quite a lot of them obviously just abscond, though, don't they? So presumably you pay for the police to try to find them. A lot of them lie about their age. So just a couple of weeks ago, it was revealed that we had a record number of fake child asylum seekers. People have to try to do age verification checks. So, yep, we're paying for them as well, aren't we? Obviously, many of them won't speak English, so you pay for interpreters for them in courts or at hospitals a lot of the time. But, of course, they need all this money, though, don't they? Because they are genuine, needy asylum seekers who are fleeing war and persecution, and it would be completely heartless to suggest otherwise. Gosh, it's Christmas soon, isn't it? Well, last year, Border Force confirmed that a load of people trying to claim asylum in Britain were also trying to go home for Christmas. How on earth have they found the money for that? About £4.3 billion worth of UK aid was spent on refugees last year. A study from the University of Amsterdam says that each illegal immigrant will cost the taxpayer around £400,000 over the course of their lifetime. And they are just going to keep coming, aren't they? I mean, this guy, for example, he loves Labour.
The previous government, they wanted to deport us, but now they make the procedure easier for us.
So you like the Labour government? Yes. OK.
Yeah, great. Look at all of that. Great Britain is a cash machine for illegal immigrants. The only problem is that's your cash we're talking about. Let's get our thoughts from our panel this evening. We have got the glorious return of the Daily Telegraph columnist, Alison Pearson. We've, of course, got Tory peer Lord Bailey and ex-Labour Party advisor Matthew Larser. Alison, great to have you back on your throne, of course, after managing to swing the latest round of the Tory leadership election. We'll come on to that in a bit. But, look, Britain is a cash machine, but it's our cash, isn't it? And it's going to all of these people for everything.
I thought my blood pressure was bad before your list, but now it's absolutely gone through the roof. Well, we all know how to get to see an NHS dentist. It's impossible, isn't it, in any shape or form here, but we just get in one of those little plastic boats and come across. Yeah, we're a huge magnet for these people, and what we're seeing across Europe, Patrick, is country after country is clamping down, trying to be as, least attractive as possible as they can be to these migrants. Germany's recently said you can have a bed and a bit of bread and that's it. You're not having any more. So we've got this huge range of enticements, putting people in some of these people in a much better position than actual British people. Mm-hmm. And I think what most British people are saying is, when are our needs going to come first? And this bus pass nonsense is happening when the winter fuel allowance is being withdrawn from 10 million British pensioners. Just something that's worth noticing from this week, a study from Oxford. Britain has more illegal migrants than any other European nation. 1 in 100 of the population is here illegally. Can we just say that again? 1 in 100 people in this country is here illegally. 745,000 people, equivalent to a city the size of Leeds, is here illegally. It's many of them failed asylum seekers. It's absolutely ludicrous, and the grant rate for them staying is going up and up because Labour doesn't want to have to deport them, so they're just being approved for staying. And as you pointed out, having everything £50 pocket money and everything paid
on top of everything else.
Quite a nice little earner, isn't it?
Yeah, Sean, it just seems completely and utterly unjust as we are looking at headlines on the front of some of today's newspapers about a £25 billion tax raid. You know, that's the tax burden. I think it's going to go up for the average person to something like 39% or whatever it is. I mean, it's ridiculous, OK? But obviously, if you do come across in a small boat, you get all of that catalogue of things for free.
I mean, where to start on this? There's a number of things to say. The first, let's do the politics of this. Eventually, this will undo the Labour Party. And there's a lot of new MPs who are not used to being unpopular. They better batten down hatches because this will make them unpopular, because we are fast approaching the point where it's indefensible. So you have families in this country that are struggling and people who are arriving the day after and matching them. And when that's a small number of people and you have lots of money to go around, we are British people. We're very generous. We can weather that. That situation is the reverse. So I do believe that very soon it will become a political problem for the Labour Party. The other problem is, as well, of course, if you look at local authorities are under massive pressure. It doesn't matter what colour your political structure, you're under massive pressure. And I believe it's becoming indefensible for the government to waste money anywhere. If it's from civil service madness down to illegal immigrants, it's going to be harder and harder to justify that while local authorities struggle more and more. They need more money. The money is in the system. It's just being spent elsewhere. And the third piece is there's a deeper existential threat to the Labour Party. The numbers are so large now, if somebody doesn't start talking about stopping people coming here and sending people back, it will become untenable very quickly. And the key thing is here, in Europe, they are now clamping down. So we traditionally had the best offer. Now our offer is beginning to look golden. And that means we'll still attract people. And when Keir Starmer talks about smashing the gangs, I know he knows nothing about crime, because crime is about risk versus reward. And if the reward is so big, people will continue to take the big risk to go with it. And to smash the gangs, you need to smash them in their place of origin, and you need to take away the prize. And the prize is the easy ride we give you once you get here.
We're talking of easy rides. How can it be justified to be giving out free bus passes to illegal migrants and asylum seekers in Scotland, but taking the winter fuel payment off pensions?
Well, it's nothing to do with the Labour Party. The Labour Party didn't vote for it in Scotland. The Labour Party isn't in government in Scotland. It's an SNP and Green. It's actually a Green motion that the SNP and the Greens voted for. Scottish Labour and the Scottish Tories didn't vote for it. So, I mean, it is literally nothing to do with the Labour Party. Sean, there's not a single change that's been made in terms of giving asylum seekers anything extra by the Westminster Labour government since it came. You said you think it's going to be the undoing of the Labour Party. Let's face it, it was the undoing of the Tory party. Alison's pointed out how many people are here illegally. I don't know if you noticed, but Labour's been in government for 99 days. The Tories were in government for 14 years.
Let me be clear. You are correct. I'm not saying that the Tories were doing something great and you've come and messed up. It was bad. It is getting worse. But the difference is you spent a long time pointing fingers saying you'll sort it out, and you're not. And that's what undo.
You said that Keir knows nothing about crime. He was the chief prosecutor. He knows a lot more about crime than Bobby Jenrick.
I'm sorry. What he likes to do is he likes to take credit for everyone he did prosecute, and he likes to absolutely distance himself from everybody he did not prosecute. And he wants to be very careful about that. We've got our chap there that we heard saying that actually it turns out that people who are in Calais are acutely aware that we now have a Labour government, and they love it, Alison.
Oh, I'm sure they'll think their chances of staying and not getting sent back are even greater. I mean, one of the things you didn't add to your magnificent list is around the country now they are throwing up small housing developments, and they are lying. So I know for a fact that in Swansea and in a small village, a small town, Llantwit Major, very near where I grew up, they've put up these quite nice houses. The locals thought, oh, is this for us? Oh, no, this is going to be asylum seekers' house. What about the young married couple can't get out of rented accommodation? And so they're putting these places. Angela Rayner didn't say she's going to be seeding around the country, spreading out the asylum seekers. This is going to go very badly, Patrick. People are not going to be amused by this. And as Sean said, it will have consequences because People are struggling, can't get, the older people are having to keep their kids for much longer into their young adulthood because they're struggling to afford rents and so on. No one can save for a deposit. And lo and behold, oh, look, they've just put up some nice flats for asylum seekers.
The problem goes back to a fundamental mistake that was made around definition. The number of people who actually are seeking asylum has traditionally been quite small. We could absorb those numbers. Everybody in Europe had roughly the same offer. We have now mixed in people are economic migrants with people who are seeking asylum, and that's made the number untenable, and that's where the problem is. So people will often argue, shouldn't we be nice to people seeking asylum? In the traditional sense, 100%. But this isn't about that now. It's about something else, and that's where the problem lay.
Matthew, Labour, obviously, as we know, don't have a problem spending other people's money until it runs out, of course. But this is our money now, and it is running out, and it's being given to a load of people who, we don't know who they are or where they're from. I mean, at 10 p.m, I'm going to be rattling off a list of some people who've committed unspeakable crimes here during our asylum seeker system. I mean, ridiculously so. At what point do you think Labour are going to wake up and they realise that the social contract has been completely broken?
I think Labour absolutely understands that the situation is untenable. It totally understands that the Tories failed over 14 years. They certainly didn't stop the boats as they promised. It doesn't have, because nobody can, a magic wand that can be waved. But as Sean says, you do need to do
call them illegal migrants anymore, do they?
No.
Irregular.
In international treaties, they're called irregular migrants. That's just an international term. Labour still calls them illegal migrants. And one of the things that Alison mentioned was deportations. Absolutely. Labour is actually focusing on deportations so they can send people back to safe countries when they've been rejected. We need a system that works. The system was broken. You can't fix it in 99 days because it's such a big problem.
The point Sean's made about there's a huge difference between a family seeking asylum. Over 70% of these people on boats are young, fit young men. They don't look in need to me. We've also got people claiming asylum from Albania, which is a British tourist destination.
Which is why we need to look at offshore processing, which Labour's been in favour of.
No, but I want to say that I will tell you that the Tories didn't do a brilliant job, but Matthew can't sit here and talk about the Labour Party because at every turn, the Labour Party and people on the left tried to thwart anything the Tories tried to do. They brought people to court. They drummed up the idea that anything you did... Hold on.
Don't conflate the Labour Party and lawyers, Sean.
They drummed up...
It's difficult at times, isn't it, given who's in charge?
Because they were very supportive of it. They drummed up the idea that if you talked about... migration, you were racist, so nothing could be done.
And the Labour Party never said that.
You're just as guilty as the Tory Party for the situation we're in.
In his conference speech, Keir acknowledged.
We're going to have to move along.